You're listening to Barbell Logic,
the podcast where we talk about what it means to experience strength
and how you can use simple, hard, and effective strategies in training and nutrition to improve your life.
It starts with meeting you where you are right now and finding lasting solutions.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, Barbell Logic fam. This is your host, Nikki Sims, on Beast Overburden with Andrew Jackson. What's up, Andrew?
Good afternoon.
Good after Tuesday. Awesome. You seem to be pretty busy at work today. Like there's not enough time to get everything done ever.
Yeah, it's just high friction days, I'll call it. It's hard but doable,
Yes.
One step at a time. Whenever I start feeling this, I just focus on, okay, what can I do next? What can I do next? Just try to keep doing until at some point, maybe it feels manageable again.
Yeah. Busy times.
Pick my head up and look around every once in a while. But
yeah.
Mostly good because part of the reason it's busy is that I'm trying to go on vacation.
Mm-hmm. That's a fun reason to be busy.
Yeah. Can't complain too much there.
So you proposed a really interesting topic today, and I think it's something that we've talked about a lot at work, in our culture, and something that I think you really think about a lot as the product manager for TKC. But it's stuff that we incorporate into our lives a lot, and it's even the name of a book. But you thought it'd be cool to talk about buying back your time. Where did that idea come from?
It really kind of hit home for me with what I consider the most concrete example of me buying back my time in a way that I never feel regret. I always feel that it is worth having groceries delivered.
Oh, the best. It is the best. And it's funny because I think 2 weeks ago we were like complaining about our grocery shoppers.
That's true. That's true.
But
Still
I
worth
would
it.
way rather outsource that.
The author of that book, at least, Dan Martell, he frequently talks about a solution that's as 80% as good as what you would do is still worth buying your time back from somebody else.
Yeah.
So even if you get the bok choy situation 20% of the time, it's still worth it.
Still worth it.
And even with the mistakes and even with the little nuisances of things getting replaced that are there, they just, for whatever reason, decide to replace it with something else. It's worth it. It is one of the most magical feelings in the world. Like yesterday it was for me. I just needed some extra stuff and I wanted it for Sunday morning, ordered it on a Saturday afternoon and got to wake up on a Sunday morning, open up the front door, and there were my groceries.
Oh my gosh. So nice. You have so much more breathing room.
Yeah. Well, so the thing that occurred to me is that I can remember at some point in time feeling almost guilty about it. Like, oh, you can't go get your groceries. I'm like, well, it's not that I'm too good to go grocery shopping. I don't mind. I actually went to the same grocery store that I had deliveries like 3 times last week. Because I was like, oh, I'm driving by. I'm just going to swing in and grab garbage bags because I'm about to move. And so I needed extra garbage bags. But every time I went in, I was like, man, this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I go into this Fred Meyer. It's pretty big. Parking lot's a mess. It's right on a busy intersection. So just getting in and out of there is, by the next thing I know, getting garbage bags took me like 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
I don't know. It just kind of adds up. And a lot of people, I think, spend a lot of time thinking about money as it's almost like with lifting, we get really wrapped around the axle with PRs and always seeing weight go up on the bar. And I think that's kind of similar with money, where you can kind of get fixated on this metric of dollars in the bank account or saving dollars. And those are all good things. I like being intentional and YNABing my money for sure. But at some point, getting time back by investing your money, by using your money, which money is really a tool for exchanging time, essentially, anyways. Your time and my services for somebody else's time and their products or services. And it enables me to do more with my time than I would if I were just, harvesting all of my own food, building my car, building a plane and then flying myself to wherever I needed to go. Like we pay somebody else to go do these things at scale because they're better at it and I get to buy my time back.
Yeah, like if I wanted to make pad thai, that would probably cost me $75 in 3 hours, and I would end up with a crappy pad thai, or I could buy it for $9.
Yeah, I notice this all the time, especially, there's definitely certain foods. I've tried making, for me, I was recently just trying to make pho. I was like, let's just give this a try. It looks like there's some Instapot recipes out there. I tried it, and it was the same thing. I had to go buy $100 worth of ingredients that I use once to do this thing to make a half-assed, not as good tasting version of a bowl of soup that I could buy for $15.
Yep. And I get it. Like sometimes you just, you know what? I want to get really good at making XYZ.
Sure.
And that's a different thing. Like you're kind of investing in your own quality of time.
Absolutely.
Which is what we're trying to do anyway when we outsource someone to shop for our groceries so that I can go on a walk instead of going to the grocery store.
Or sleep in or hang out with my daughter. But I mean, I cook most of my meals. I'll, buy a whole chicken and butcher it, because it's cheaper.
Manly thing to do.
Well, and I can make chicken stock and I can make chicken. And I mean, there's all kinds of, I've always feel, and I don't know if this is just my upbringing where I feel guilty for not doing anything manually myself.
But you're such a lean operations guy. Like when it comes to workflow, you will find the most efficient and effective way to do things.
The common thread there, I mean, well, I guess I'm going to go back and forth here, but I'm going to say that, or I was going to say, things that I cook consistently, regularly, like there's just staples that I have the bulk ingredients and I just have the stuff on hand and I have a process for doing it. I enjoy that. And I think that food actually tastes better. Like I've gotten to the point where most of the things that I typically get at a restaurant, I prefer making myself because I just think the ingredients are better. It's made better. I enjoy the taste. Pho, there's one example. Pad Thai, there's specialty things that I don't build it. I don't make it that well. But the thought about groceries, it dawned on me, and I think I sent this to you shortly after I got those groceries. I was like, I get excited about buying my time back with groceries. And I think that's actually very similar to what we do as strength and nutrition coaches for our clients. But I don't know that people view it that way. I think that's what I'd be interested in talking to you about. You see this in the fitness industry, like people will argue, well, you don't need a coach. You can do this on your own. And I think that's valid. But it's also like going to get your groceries.
Or wanting to be really good at something that you don't know anything about. And so, of course, that can be your journey where you want to put on a lot of muscle and learn how to weight lift. And you could do that DIY. You can figure your own way out totally fine. Or you can outsource that and hire someone who knows exactly what you can do and how to do it and when to do it and what will be probably the most effective way for you to do it. And so you start to do things that make more of an impact sooner. And so you could have bought back 1.5 years of your life.
Literally years.
With a coach.
Or how to get around a setback when they come up.
Yeah.
Inevitably.
Oh, yes.
How many months or years might one spend stuck on a plateau?
Yeah.
Dealing with reoccurring injuries.
And that really matters when you're like 35 and above, because your window to put on muscle, I'm sorry, but it just gets shorter and shorter the older that you get. And so when you're 25, you kind of do have more time to kind of explore. You're going to get stronger pretty easily. But the older you get, honestly, the less time you have to be effective.
But not only day to day, month to month, year to year, but hour by hour. You don't have hours a day or a week to go to the gym and experiment. You want to get in and you need to get in and out of the gym in 45 minutes to, I'm really getting to the point where I used to say no more than an hour and a half. When I start seeing over 75 minutes regularly, it's just like this is either the most important part of their day that they're going to do no matter what, or it's not sustainable. I really think you start getting much over that hour mark consistently, because then you got to tack on everything on the other side. Now you're talking about 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours a day.
Which speaks to the value of having your home gym. That is buying your time back.
Cannot wait to get my home gym back. That is coming soon. And you have a coach, right? Do you view it in that light, or is it different because you're looking for expertise, or is it kind of a combination?
I have trust in her knowledge and her skill set that she will get me where I want to be more quickly than I could get there on my own.
Okay.
So
So that's the time. Yeah.
yep,
Mhm.
definitely a time thing. And I also don't have to spend any time thinking about it. I just go in and do it.
Yep.
And the energy that I do spend on it is mostly about being excited instead of feeling like, oh, I'm not sure, second guessing, wondering if I woulda, coulda, shoulda done something differently. All I feel is excitement and the reward. Honestly, I feel the reward of it too. So it's worth
That's really
it.
interesting because I'd never thought about the qualitative buy back your time qualitatively as well as quantitatively. I had always thought of it as like, I am buying X number of minutes or hours back. But what you're describing is not only are you buying time
It's
back,
an emotional exchange.
the way you get to spend that time is qualitatively better as well,
Totally. I hadn't really thought about that either.
which I guess is the same with the groceries because it's like, it's not just that I'm getting 30 minutes back. I'm exchanging with not very much money. Grocery delivery now is pretty dang cheap.
Like $8 or something. Yeah.
I mean, I actually think the tip on most of mine is, less than 10 always. And then I actually start feeling like, man, I need to add another $5 to this. This is ridiculous. Because the grocery store gives it to me for quote unquote free. And I probably actually get more deals because the web thing tells me to clip this coupon and stuff. Not just that I'm buying 30 minutes, but I'm exchanging that 30 minutes of time. Instead of wandering around Fred Meyer, I'm making breakfast and hanging out with Clara.
Yeah. Way better.
Or getting some work done before she wakes up.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And sometimes wondering like, should I buy this thing or should I buy that thing? Oh, maybe I should start eating more fill in the blank food. Now I better look up a recipe for that while you're walking around the grocery store. So I also think going back to nutrition coaching, I think there's a lot of value in taking the time to figure out nutrition habits that always work for you. I think we talked about this an episode or two ago as well. As like you buy your time back when you have good habits to default to. And you also buy your emotions back. Like you can relax and know that this is going to work instead of fretting about it and spending that kind of emotional currency as well.
Yeah, I think that's a key point there. And I mean, it's starting to feel like we're making this a podcast about grocery delivery.
Instacart.
But I just want to reiterate, it was in that moment of getting groceries delivered that I had a perception shift about how I think that is partly what I'm doing as a strength coach for my clients. And that I think, we've talked about this before, I believe, that the clients that seem to be most satisfied with the service are the ones that value their own time enough to rationalize buying training time back, like you were talking about, qualitatively and quantitatively, and appreciate expertise that enables them to work out more efficiently, get better results, and that peace of mind that they're not wasting their time.
Yeah.
That's a huge piece too, right? Like you said, like that, just the peace of mind. It's not just how much is 10 minutes of your time worth, how much is 10 minutes of your time and peace of mind that when you are investing time into the activity, it's going to move you forward.
Yeah, that feels pretty good. That seems worth it to me.
Do you have a way of determining where that tipping point is? Like, do you have a mental model, like dollar per hour rate or anything like that?
I'm so much more emotionally driven that I probably have like a level of frustration that I hit where I'm just like, nope, can't. I don't want to be dealing with this at all. I need to find a way to outsource this so that I'm not spending so much time waking up and thinking about it at night or on my computer, just researching and researching and researching. Like, honestly, the thing that I'm getting to want to outsource next is travel. Like, I think that travel agents are coming back,
Like buying tickets.
like planning vacations.
Oh yeah.
And you can go down so many places on the internet searching for the best this, the best that. You try to compare them. It's not apples to apples. And I end up having certain expectations that I can never meet on my own. And I spend so much time. And the more time I spend on it, the more expensive those expectations become. So it's like if I can tell someone what I want, they know more than I do, and they can get me what I want, or like you said, at least 80% of it, then I haven't built this thing up so big between my own desire and my own time that I'm just like totally going to fail.
Were you ever traveling at a point in time where you pretty much had to go through a travel agent?
I think so. Probably when I was a kid.
Like back in the day when they're pre-internet, like you almost had to go through travel agency.
Yeah.
The internet pretty much killed the old school thing, which was like, oh, I better call my travel agent so I can book a flight.
Yeah. I see them on there. I'm getting ads on Instagram now, like to become travel agent.
Because it's not just about getting the flight anymore, right? It's the whole
The
experience.
whole experience of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's more like, am I setting myself up for failure by how much time and energy I'm investing in this and can never get what I want? So I might as well just like reduce how much energy I'm spending on it in some way.
Right. That Buy Back Your Time book has a math equation that you take your annual income and divide it by 2,000 hours, roughly 40 hours a week. And then whatever that number is, you divide by 4 to get your buyback rate.
Oh, cool.
So for example, if you take your total income divided by 2,000 hours, let's say it's $200 an hour, then you divide that by 4, you get $50 per hour. So anything that costs $50 per hour or less, you should be buying that time back.
Worth it.
I think that's a useful back of the napkin. I tend to think of it almost more like 1 for 1, like what I think, but dividing it by 4 basically says that, in order for it to be worth outsourcing, you essentially need to be able to make 4 times as much money in the equivalent amount of time, so.
Yeah, it kind of holds you accountable to using that time productively also.
Your working time?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Matt's talked about this a lot too. He was, I think, the first person that I had heard some version of that. He used to talk about it with cutting his grass. And I always sort of took a lot of pride in cutting my own grass.
Yep.
And by the way, I will also put a major asterisk on all of this. If you love the idea of being a do-it-yourself barbell enthusiast and you just want to go geek out, great. If you want to be the person who loves maintaining every blade of grass on your yard, great. If you love...
Get lost in it. Have fun.
I was talking about with Brittany Snyder. She's like, I was listening to your podcast and I think we must talk about grocery delivery a lot because we were talking about grocery delivery. He's like, yeah, but I like going to the grocery store and seeing what's out there and kind of getting creative. It's a creative outlet, for her.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
Do it. I mean, it's like anything. If you have a preference that if there's a thing that you love doing, don't let that stop you.
It's more that if you're doing something that's stopping you from doing what you love doing, then it's worth reconsidering.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're slogging through the frozen foods section, just like, why am I here? What is that smell? Why is there a butt crack hanging out?
I was just thinking the grocery store butt crack.
Why is there a butt crack in the frozen food section?
Why is this Prius in my way again? And why is it always a Prius?
Fred Meyer installed this new feature where they have this radio tower that takes up a parking spot and sends out this like dome, this protective dome that if you push the cart outside of the dome of radio signal, whatever it is, some signal, Wi-Fi, who knows, it just locks the wheels.
Yeah, because there's also kind of like a meth hotspot around that Fred Meyer.
It's
a little dicey.
Yeah, it's pretty popular with I think the unhoused is the technically correct term or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
So now you've got this graveyard of carts that are all locked up right on the edge of the parking lot. And I don't know. Have you ever heard the shopping cart test? It's like the fundamental test of humanity.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole Instagram account called Cart Narcs. that videos people getting caught not putting their shopping cart away, and then they get yelled at, and it's hilarious.
Well, it hasn't come to Bellingham yet, or at least nobody cares because there's just always carts right on the edge of the zone. And anyway, so I'll find myself taking them back because I don't understand not putting stuff away for the most part. I mean, there's exceptions.
It's also so satisfying to throw your cart in really hard and know that it's just going to
lock in.
pile up. Oh, I love that. It's just like, oh yeah, just like throw it in, they stack up.
I don't think I've ever seen you do it because
That's the one thing that I miss about going to the grocery store.
the grocery delivery's been around, I should say, long enough. I'm going to have to see that at some point. We should just go find a cart and put it back.
Maybe we'll just go to the grocery store parking lot and get our grocery delivered on the same day.
I think that started with a rant, though. If you find yourself being annoyed about taking a cart back or a cart taking up a parking spot or a cart dinging your car because somebody left it out and it's not bringing you joy, Marie Kondo that out of your life and get groceries delivered and then hire a strength and nutrition coach. And I can't believe how much we've just spent talking about grocery deliveries and shopping carts.
23, almost 24 minutes. To say, maybe we can wrap up with like 2 or 3 more ways to buy back your time.
Yes, concrete strength training related buy back your time things. Well, I, for most of my life, was anti deadlift jack.
Oh, good one.
But I will say that is a qualitative buy back my time experience. The reason I was anti deadlift jack is that most of my lifting time, I was doing weights with a lot of bumpers because I was doing weightlifting. And even if I did a heavy deadlift, it was not as frequently and they got big chunky plates. So it was actually kind of like satisfying to rip off the plates. You try to see if you could get all 5 plates ripped off in one big heave. Hell yeah.
Dudes being dudes.
But then now that I'm lifting more with, steel plates or, iron plates, the jack is nice.
Yeah.
And it's a reasonably low expense, depending on which one you get, that I think improves the quality of your experience. That might seem trivial, but I think that's a small one.
The only small one I can think of right now
Ayo.
is having weight stacks on either side of your rack.
Yeah.
So that
Agreed.
It's just right there, on and off, on and off, on and off. You don't have to walk across the gym.
That's a good one. Gym bag, obviously. I think most people have that one figured out. That's not really a buy back your time, though, huh?
Man, one way to buy back your time is if you have to do squats or something that you need like your knee sleeves on for like halfway through or later in the workout, and you have knee sleeves that are really hard to get on, wear knee length socks or leggings so that you don't spend 10 minutes trying to put on your knee sleeves like I have done before. My legs get sweaty.
Once they get sweaty.
Becomes impossible.
I don't think I ever put a knee sleeve on exercise. Oh, that's not true. Deadlifting first, and then I do squats. Yeah, okay. All right, fair enough. I usually just put them on around and go with the horse.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the word is a very horse
look.
Well, some of us really want to look like centaurs, so that works.
Yeah, that's true. You are definitely going full centaur lately.
Full centaur, which is because it's a half and a half.
It's like when somebody says the whole half.
Well, if we can help you in any way, please go to barbelllogic.com/experience. Set up a call with one of us on the customer experience team. We'd love to chat with you about your training, even about your nutrition. And we'll see you here next week. Happy birthday, Andrew.
Bye-bye.